Hi, and welcome back to My Verbal Journal, a podcast where we talk about nutrition, fitness, mental health, self growth, and sometimes just chat and vent. But yeah, I'm so happy you guys are here. And this episode is officially coming out on New Year's Eve. So I hope you all had a great Christmas, and I'm wishing you all the best in 2025. I hope you're doing something fun today with family or friends, or just spending some much needed time alone. But yeah, today is kind of a reality check mindset episode. So if you need motivation for the new year, you're in the right place. But before we get into it, here's a little life update since we last talked. I'm currently home in Colorado for winter break, and I just got back from Winter Park, which is a little town up in the mountains in Colorado. My family always heads up there on Christmas Day after we open presents, and then we normally stay up there through New Year's, but this year I came down early. I was up there for a few days with some friends. We always have a ton of friends up there. It's super fun. We went skiing, we ice skated and played some hockey and just hung out and played cards and different games and stuff. So that was super fun. And then tonight, when you guys are watching or listening to this, for New Year's Eve, I'm going to the Avs game with a couple of my friends and then just hanging out in Denver at the bars with some friends. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. As you can see, I got a new microphone, so you'll have to let me know if the audio is better. But it's definitely much easier because it stands up straight, so I like it a lot more. But yeah, excited about that. Nothing else is really new. Basically, just going to the gym, cooking, and trying to get some work done for my master's application for the dietetics program at TCU. And yeah, so when I was up in the mountains, it just really made me appreciate Colorado and how beautiful it is here. I love living here. It's literally incredible. I don't want to go back to Texas, but gotta do it. Gotta go back to school. Heading back there January 11th. So I don't know. This break went by really fast. It always does. So, but yeah, we went skiing and the snow was insanely good for this time of year. There was a lot of fresh powder, so that was really lucky. But yeah, let's start with our usual segments where I share some things I've been loving lately and an unpopular opinion that I have. Okay, so some things I've been loving lately. Walking outside, you know, the drill. I always love walking outside, but normally this time of year it's way too cold, but for some reason this year, I don't know, global warming, it's fucking warm out and the sun's out, so I've been able to still walk outside. I love the Lifetime gym that they built near my house. It's literally 5 minutes from my house. It's so clutch and it's brand new. And yeah, the Normatec recovery is so nice. And so that's been really good to come home to. And then the next thing is just like slowing down as much as I can. If you know me or have listened to previous episodes, you know I'm like go go go. I can't take a break. I can't relax. It's a blessing and a curse. But over this break, I feel like I've been able to slow down a little bit and give myself some grace and realize that, okay, Macy, this is your break from school. You're going to be back to the grind very soon. And so just realizing that the only things I really need to do right now and focus on is sleep, getting to the gym, my nutrition, and then just spending quality time with family and friends that are home that I don't get to see while I'm at school. So that's been nice. And then the last thing I've been loving lately is listening to David Goggins on the Stairmaster because major motivation. Fucking love listening to him. I also have been listening to him while I've been doing my ab circuit. It really helps me get through it, not gonna lie. But yeah, this episode is a little bit David Goggins inspired. You guys will see. But yeah, so highly recommend if you hate the Stairmaster, listen to David Goggins while you're on it because it'll make your ass stay on there for as long as possible. Okay. Unpopular opinion that I have. You guys know I have beef with Texas, but boys in cowboy boots when they're wearing them unironically and just like out and about is not attractive to me. Like that is like repulsing. I know a lot of girls are into cowboys and that vibe couldn't be me. So, yeah, whatever. You do you. I hope all you cowboys, I wish you the best, but just not really for me. But with that, let's get into today's episode where I'm going to kind of hit you with a reality check about reaching your goals. And it might involve saying some stuff you don't want to hear. Like I said, slightly David Goggins-esque episode. So, but the truth is, the only way to live up to your full potential and achieve your biggest, scariest aspirations is by just doing the damn thing. Showing up day after day. By doing what most people don't do, especially when you don't want to. So, yeah, let's get into the episode. I was basically listening to David Goggins and Andrew Huberman talk about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, which is the part of the brain that grows when you do things you don't want to do. And it helps us build willpower. So each and every one of us has control over this. That's the good news. You have control. By doing things we don't want to do, this part of our brain literally grows. However, it also shrinks when we avoid doing these things that we don't want to do. So we have to continue to do things we don't want to do day in and day out if we want to reach our full potential and build our willpower and achieve our goals. Because the truth is no one just has this God-given superior willpower or discipline. They're not just like born better than you or with more to give. It's fucking work that gets them there. I mean, yeah, maybe their upbringing helped set them up for success or helped them build mental strength, but they had to do the work and continue to show up day after day. And my dad always told me that, he always would say this to me, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And David Goggins literally went from 300 pounds, being unable to read and write, to an ultra marathon runner, and he taught himself how to read and write. He taught himself, like he's devoted to his studies now, even though it's fucking hard for him. He has to read a page 1,000 times just to remember it. But he went from 300 pounds to a Navy SEAL, an ultra marathon runner, and he hates running, but he does it because it's hard. And it's not even about the physical act of running. It's the fact that he's capable. It's like he knows that he's capable of doing it because he's done it. And that sets him up to take on any hard task in his life because he knows he can do hard things because his willpower and his anterior mid-cingulate cortex has grown so much because he continues to do these things day in and day out. And yes, while positive self-talk and sympathy are sometimes things that are needed, they're not going to get you to where you want to be. Other people pitying you and feeling bad for you shouldn't be this like comfort. It should be insulting and honestly a warning that something needs to change. And it's totally fine to feel bad for yourself and make up excuses and sit with the sympathy or empathy others are giving you. But that needs to be like a short phase, or else you get comfortable being average or even below average. I don't know about you, but for me, one of my biggest fears is not reaching my full potential. Like, I want to make sure I leave this world with nothing left on the table. I want to give everything I have in me to leave this place better than I found it. In some way, and just help as many people as I can. Like when I was playing soccer, it was always like, leave the pitch with everything, knowing you gave it everything you had. Like, leave everything on the field. Like, you can work hard for that 90-minute soccer game and go your absolute hardest, because when you step off, you can be proud of yourself and know that you gave it everything you have. It's the same thing in life. And I know that if I want to do that, I have to put myself in uncomfortable situations. I have to make sacrifices and constantly do things that I don't want to do. Our minds are capable of so much more than we can even comprehend. Mental strength is something that everyone has, but some people just tap into it and push it further. Just like any muscle, you have to use it to make it grow. And you have to push your mind to do hard things when you feel like you can't do it anymore. When your brain is telling you to quit, that's when it's the most important time to keep going. When you're so exhausted and feel like your body has nothing left to give in a workout or a run, your mind will show you what you didn't even believe was possible. So, I'm sorry, but our excuses aren't valid. The world doesn't fucking care about our personal situation, our responsibilities, whatever it is. We aren't just here to simply exist. We all have a purpose, and I truly, truly believe that. And I think we all have something in us, and we're meant to make an impact on other people in the world. And someone can tell you how they got to where they are. They can tell you the habits that will help you lead your life in the right direction. They can tell you every step of their everyday, what they've done to get to where they are. And that's great. That's awesome. But it's up to you to actually fucking do it and to hold yourself accountable and to stay the course on the hardest days. Because you can sit in the sauna every day, take vitamins, get 8 or more hours of sleep every night, stretch, work out. Like, you can do all these things and still never get to where you want to be because you didn't do the deeper work, like the inner work and the painful work. You may not even know what your purpose in life is or what you're passionate about yet, and that's completely fine. But you can always, always pour your energy into yourself. You can do everything you can to be the best version of you so you're prepared when the right opportunity or the right person comes along. By doing hard things regularly, you will develop, why did I say regularly like that? By doing hard things regularly, why can't I say that word right now? You get what I mean. But you'll develop the confidence and mental strength to climb the real mountain when it comes along, and you'll be able to take full advantage of the opportunities in your life. And you won't be second guessing yourself because you know your mind is strong enough to lead you to success. And you may not even know what that future version of you looks like yet, but you can envision the characteristics you wish to have, how you want to live each day, how you want to feel, who you want to be to the other people in your life depending on you. And you hold the power to become that person. But change isn't going to happen without action. That can only come from deep within you. So yeah, after hearing about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex from Andrew Huberman, David Goggins said, "Damn, I didn't know anything about that, but that's how I've lived my life every single day." And I think people need to hear this because there is no fucking life hack. So that's where the title of today's episode comes from. Because there is no fucking life hack. Everyone's woken up feeling like a piece of shit, thinking about all the things they hate about themselves, about who they are, about what they've done, about the way their body looks, about their habits, about their choices. I mean, I know I have. But the difference between a normal person and someone who is or someone who wants to be above average is that they actually do something to change it. And not just one time. Not just when they feel like it or when they have motivation, but every single day. They do the things they don't want to do, and their willpower grows, and those things become easier until they're second nature and their habits. And then new challenges come along, and they do those things when they don't want to do them. And they live their entire life this way because it's a lifelong commitment to yourself. And I promise you, the best investment you will ever make is in yourself. Discipline and willpower, these aren't things that you're born with or without. You develop them with hard work and consistency. It's a daily choice. So stop putting other people on a pedestal and thinking that they're just on another level than you or that they're built differently and you just aren't like that. Because that could be you if you started believing it is and acting like it. Choosing the shortcuts or the hacks may bring you instant gratification, but they're only delaying your path to achieving what you really want to achieve. You have to be consistent and do the hard work. You have to make sacrifices. You have to wake up early. And you have to constantly do things that make you uncomfortable if you want to level up and reach your full potential. Like I said, my greatest fear is not reaching my full potential. And I have huge goals that seem so far away and impossible right now. But I know and I believe that I will achieve them eventually because I'm taking the steps now. And I refuse to let myself down. My word is my bond. Like, to myself, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. And I honestly just lose respect for people that say they're going to do something and then don't do it. Because how are you supposed to trust them? So I would encourage you to be committed to building your anterior mid-cingulate cortex every single day. And for me, I think I've been building it since I was little and just didn't even know it. I've talked about this before a little bit, but I did competitive gymnastics for about 8 years. 8 years, I believe. Yeah. And we had practice 6 hours a day before and after school. In addition, I also played soccer. So I would go to gymnastics at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then I would go to school. And then I would return to the gym from 2 to 5 p.m. and then I'd go to soccer practice for a couple hours. And then I'd come home, I'd eat dinner, do my homework until like 9 or 10, and then I'd go to bed and then I'd repeat. And my coaches knew, and I knew also, that I wasn't going to the Olympics. Because I didn't, that wasn't really even a goal of mine. I didn't want to go to the Olympics. But a lot of the girls that I trained with quite possibly will. And a lot of them are like doing college gymnastics. They're fucking insane. So yeah, but honestly, being in that environment, I was kind of constantly overlooked. And I never felt like I was good enough or like I deserved to be there. Sorry, there's such a weird glare. I'm gonna close this blind. Okay, that's better. Okay, but as I was saying, I was constantly overlooked and I never felt like I was good enough or even deserved to be there. But I still completed every rep. I did the routines 500 times. I got private lessons outside of normal practice times to work on certain skills that didn't come naturally to me, and that I was honestly terrified to do. And I never complained. I never made excuses or skipped days because that wasn't even an option in my mind. I just showed up, I gave 100%, and I went home, you know? And for the last 3 or so years that I did gymnastics, I hated it. I dreaded going to practice every single day just to get yelled at for my knees being bent. Every day, there were girls sitting out in the corner crying because they either got kicked out or they were hurt or they didn't point their toes. Like, that was just how it was. It was normal. And continuing to push through injuries, doing leg lifts and having to start over if someone in the group cheated a rep. Like, that was normal. And every summer of my childhood, I spent 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the gym instead of at the pool with friends. I had to give up a social life because that's just what it took. And I knew I wasn't going to the Olympics. Like I said, I didn't even have a desire to. I liked soccer more anyways, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, that I could place at the meets and prove my coaches wrong, because I knew they didn't fully believe in me, even though they tried to treat everyone equally. We all knew who the focus was truly on, and it was on the small girls with power and perfect hyperextended knees and pointed toes, and the ones who were so naturally flexible and just fearless. And that wasn't me. My knees don't even go straight to this day. They always look bent, even when I'm squeezing them as much as I possibly can, and I would always get deductions for it. My coach used to have me sit on the floor with my heels up on a mat, and she would sit and bounce on my knees to try to get them to hyperextend. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. But I have had 2 knee surgeries since, so there's that. But one meet, I was so dialed in, I was in my zone, I was loving it, and I nailed all my routines, and I got first place all around. And yes, that was the only time. It was only one time. But I did prove to myself that I deserved to be there as much as anyone else, and my hard work had finally paid off, even though I wasn't naturally the most talented. So, for my last few years of gymnastics, I moved gyms, but my brother still went to our old gym. And after a lot of controversy between the gyms, my old gym told my family my brother could no longer attend that gym. And if you know how expensive gymnastics is, like, these people are turning down all of this money and said that if I was still at the other gym, my brother couldn't go to this gym. So by this point, I had had a knee surgery, 2 elbow surgeries, and 4 broken arms, and I was so fucking past burnt out. And I loved soccer more anyways, so I decided to focus on that and quit gymnastics, so my brother could keep going. That's not like the only reason why I quit, just so I didn't like quit for my brother, not like that selfless of a person. Um, but I was honestly so over it, and it just kind of worked out that way. But I think that those years of my childhood were pivotal, and even though a lot of trauma came out of gymnastics, I don't regret doing it for a second. Because I think all of my current mental strength, my discipline, everything that I preach, everything that I practice, and I think a lot of it I owe to that sport. So now, years later, kind of still talking about fitness, I really don't enjoy running. I never have. I mean, I tell myself I enjoy it more now than I did while I was playing soccer, but um it's still not something that I like, that I love. It's not just like, oh yes, can't wait to go outside and run 6 miles. Like, fuck no. Um and I've played soccer for basically my whole life, until I transferred schools 2 years ago. And I probably I easily ran 8 miles in every single game. But the thought of just simply going out for a run, absolutely not. I hated it. Even while I was fully capable, like playing soccer, practicing every day, my physical body was totally capable of running for miles and miles. But mentally, I was only capable of running like 2 or 3. And I remember about 4 or 5 years ago, my dad made me go on a run with him. And literally after less than a mile, there was a huge hill on the trail behind my house. And I got halfway up and I stopped the first time. Just stopped. And my dad was not having it. He basically told me I was being a weak piece of shit. Not in those words, but the message was the same. So I rolled my eyes and uttered something snarky and just kept going. And the entire time, my brain was screaming, you can't do this. Just stop. You're tired. Your legs hurt. You don't like running. It's just not for you. It's fine. We all have our things. Like, that's just, running's not for you. Blah, blah, blah. And every step that I took while my brain was saying these things was a step toward building my anterior mid-cingulate cortex, or my willpower. And eventually, I was going on runs by myself, equally as miserable, with my brain telling me to stop. But this time I sprinted up the fucking hill because I knew I could. And I didn't want to feel like that weak-minded piece of shit ever again. And how could I expect myself to play college soccer when I didn't even have the mental strength in me to run 3 fucking miles? Like, for so long, a 5K was my worst nightmare. The thought of running for 25 minutes with my own self-deprecating thoughts was actual hell. But I did it anyway. And eventually I was choosing to run in the rain. And 3 miles easily turned into 5. And one day I'd love to do a half marathon. Not because I love running now, but just because I know I can do it. And I've had 2 knee surgeries, 2 elbow surgeries, 4 broken arms, stress fractures in my feet, sprained ankles, shin splints. The list goes on. And I'm not saying this to make myself seem tough or like I'm above anyone else, because I'm not. Because in fact, part of the reason I'm so determined to achieve all these things that I want to do in my life is because I know I've been dealt a great hand and I need to make the most out of it, because so many people won't even get the opportunities that I've been blessed with. And part of me feels guilty for that. And I want to make the most out of it and do as much good as I can in this world, because I know that not everyone will have the same opportunities that I have. But yeah, these injuries and these setbacks definitely tested my willpower and my mental strength throughout my athletic career. I learned through these things that I have so much more to offer than just playing sports, being athletic, or getting straight A's, getting a degree. They taught me that I'm capable of overcoming failure and doubt within myself and from others. they taught me about who I really am deep down. And I've probably talked about this before, but I tore my ACL in a soccer game the day after I committed to play college soccer at Bentley University. And when it happened, I didn't care about the pain. Like, yeah, it hurt, but I that wasn't even on my mind. I was pissed when it happened because I knew I tore it immediately. And my last season with my club team was over, no high school season, and I was going to have to show up to my college team having, if I was even quite like, will I even still be able to play in college? Like, are they still going to take me? Like, I don't know. So yeah, the entire time my coaches came out, carried me off the field, and I just remember saying, motherfucker, that was my fucking ACL. And I knew it immediately. And I was so pissed. Thankfully, I was still able to play college soccer, but I had to show up having not played any contact for a year, and I was in this huge brace, and it sucked. I felt like I was half the player I once was and half the player I could be, and I was terrified. And a year later, I felt like I was starting to get back to the player I once was, and then I sprained my ankle, and it was 5 steps backwards. I tried to come back too fast from my ankle injury and ended up hurting it worse, and was also dealing with chronic shin splints. So yeah, my love for the sport by this point was completely gone. I did not want to play. It wasn't even fun for me anymore. And that just really left a huge hole in my life because I'd worked so hard for this my entire life to play college soccer, and it was something, soccer was always a release for me. It was an outlet, and now that it wasn't that for me anymore, it just left this huge hole. But I was able to find passion for weightlifting, cycling, and nutrition. And that's why I decided to move on, even though part of me was saying, just keep playing, just finish it out. But by this point, I realized it wasn't just about the sport. I didn't want a finance degree. The entire life I was creating for myself, I didn't want to go into the corporate world. I think I was partially doing it to please other people in my life and to seem like, wow, people would always say, wow, you already know you want to be a financial planner? Like, you're so young, like, you already know your whole life plan. And I was like, yep, I know my life plan. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Like, it's perfect. Nothing can fuck it up. But for so long, I was holding on to that when I realized that's actually not what I wanted. And I realized that for what I do want to do in my life, something has to change. And it's going to come with being very uncomfortable and letting maybe other people down, maybe letting part of myself, feeling like I let myself down when in reality it's going to be the best thing for me. So that is why I wanted to pursue nutrition and fitness, and I knew I couldn't do that with where I was at Bentley. So the mental battle persisting in my mind just for months, it just showed me more about myself, and I ultimately took the leap of faith to transfer to TCU and pursue a dietetics degree. And then I got my personal training certificate, and I've created now even bigger goals for myself. And now I'll never be David Goggins. I don't think anyone will be. I'll never run a 200-mile ultra marathon. But like I mentioned earlier, for David Goggins, it's not about running. It's about what him running every fucking day, even though he hates it, has done to his willpower, to his confidence, his sense of self. If he was never able to run again, like if he literally got paralyzed or had to get his legs amputated, it wouldn't even matter. Because he would just do something equally, if not more challenging, and conquer that just because he can. So I'm not telling you to never rest or sleep or take a break, because all of those things are a very important part of achieving your goals, and I've talked about that in past episodes. And those are equally as important, but I'm telling you to stop making excuses and validating your shitty habits. Stop watching other people on social media do what you want to do and just seeing it as entertainment while you eat chips and scroll through TikTok. Unless you're perfectly fine being where you're at, which some people are. Some people are content with being average, and that's fine. Sometimes I wish I was, because that would be much less stressful and I would probably live a happier life if I was content with that. But for me, honestly, life really isn't about happiness. Like, we all talk about happiness all the time, like how to be happy. I just want to be happy. I just want to, if once I have this, I'll be happy. Once I have this, I'll be happy. It's like, I don't think it's about happiness. Like, people always ask me, well, what do you do for fun? Like, what makes you happy? And I say, oh, I work on my podcast, I work out, I cook. And they say, yeah, but like, what do you do for fun outside of that? And I'm like, that is fun for me. Like, I mean, yeah, like I love watching hockey and I love dancing and hanging with friends or traveling, but I equally love being alone and working toward my goals because I know the impact I want to leave on this world before I die, and I know how much work that it's going to take. And I wouldn't even enjoy watching hockey or dancing or hanging out with friends if I wasn't doing the other work, because they would just be distractions and fillers to like mask the fact that I was hiding from myself and avoiding the work it takes to get to where I want to be. And that's why I battle with overexercise. I've talked about this before, but I love how exercise makes me feel. I don't always love doing it in the moment, but I love knowing that I'm investing in myself every day to make myself better. But equally important is taking days off from the gym. And that's hard for me. Like, I mean, really fucking hard. Like, I would say taking a day without stepping foot in the gym is harder for me than it would be for me if you asked me to do a 2-hour intense workout every single day for 3 years straight, or asked me to go run a half marathon right now with no training. Like, mentally, I hate taking a day off because even though I understand it's helping me achieve my goals physically, it pulls on me mentally because it makes me question what I stand for. Because I believe in hard work and pushing past your limits to truly tap into your full potential. So on the days where I'm supposed to rest, yes, physically, I can still run or lift. I could if I tried. Even though I'm sore, like I could still do it. But I know I shouldn't if I want to get stronger and I want to achieve my physical goals. Like, I have to sacrifice that instant gratification and that dopamine that I get from workout for the long-term muscle growth and the heavier weights I'll be able to lift in the future, or the more miles I'll be able to run. I have to think really hard about what my future self needs from me today. And my family will tell you, if you ask them, that I'm much more irritable and bitchy on the days I don't work out, because the whole day I'm having this insane mental battle with myself because I feel like I've failed or taken a shortcut and haven't pushed myself. Even though I'm actually prioritizing my long-term goals over the dopamine hit I would get from workout, it makes me feel like I'm failing myself. And I'm constantly like, ugh, gotta get more steps in. Like, you're not doing enough. You got it, And it's just that mental battle can make you go and you can take it out on the people closest to you. So on the days that I don't work out, that is really hard for me, but I know I have to do it. And so yeah, back to happiness. Sorry, that was a little tangent, but I've definitely felt happy and unhappy at different points in my life, as we all have. But I think I was the most unhappy when I might have seemed the happiest to other people. I was able to mask my insecurities and my self-doubt with being this fun, party, flirty girl and never spending time alone. And I pushed every uncomfortable emotion away. And by the time I had confronted these emotions, they had built up so much that it took me months of isolation to truly understand who I even was or what I was even doing. And that was just isolation and reflection and spending time alone by myself, with my thoughts, confronting my emotions. And that was hard. And it hurts me saying this, thinking about the things I used to tie my worth to. Because I truly believed for so long the only things that made me worthy were my athletic ability, my ability to do well in school, and my looks, specifically my body. I sought out validation in the wrong places because I didn't believe that I was enough. I was walking out of the gym the other day and the guy in front of me had a shirt on and the back said, quote, "To the person behind me, whoever you are, whatever your story is, you are enough. Remember that." And yes, we are all enough as we are without having to do anything to prove it. You don't have to earn love or your right to exist or live. However, you do have to do the work to truly reach your full potential. You are enough whether you reach it or not. But the question is, are you okay with never reaching it? Or are you going to endure pain, get uncomfortable, and make sacrifices to leave this world knowing you gave it everything you have? Now, like I said, you guys know I love to work out, but I don't wake up at 5 a.m. every morning pumped to walk to the gym in the dark before class, but I know I need to do it if I want the rest of my day to focus on my studies and working on this podcast and working on internships and stuff like that. I know that if I want to achieve my fitness goals, that's the only time I have in my day to do it. So I just fucking do it. Like, people are always like, "Oh, I don't have time." Yeah, you do. Make the time. You make the time for the people you care about. It's the same thing within relationships. "Oh, they just never want to hang out with me. They say they don't have time." Well, they're just busy. No, they would make the time if they really cared. Like, they would. And so it's the same thing with yourself. You have to make the time for the things that are going to get you to where you want to be. And yeah, some days I want to cry in the bathroom instead of doing Bulgarian split squats and hip thrusts, but I know how good I'll feel after I accomplish it and how it sets up my day to be equally productive because I just proved to myself at 6 a.m. that I can do hard things. And I know it'll be worth it when I get the physique that I want. I know it'll be worth it when I'm 80 years old and can still walk around and play with my grandkids. I want to do well in school, but I'm not someone who, I know myself, and I know I'm not someone who can just fill out a study guide the night before and get an A on the test. I don't just memorize information when I read it. I mean, fuck, I can hear a song 500 times and still not know the words. And people always ask me, "Why do you worry and stress so much about school when you always do well? Like, you always end up doing well. Like, why are you stressing yourself out so much?" And they don't understand that I do well because I stress out and because I over prepare. Because I start studying 2 weeks in advance. Because I make the time to do the work and I just do it. I just sit down and I do it. And now, do I worry too much and stress out more than is warranted? Yes. But that's also just how shit gets done. Like, there's limited instant gratification in a lot of the things that we don't want to do. But you have to think about your future self. Do things every day that your future self will thank you for. And if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for the loved ones in your life that are going to depend on you and look to you as a role model. I know I have to grind in the gym and I have to take rest days to get to where I want to be for myself. And so I can be a better friend, a better daughter, a better granddaughter, it's whatever it is. Both of these things are hard, but they're necessary. And I don't think the point of life is to just find happiness. Like, I just don't. Whatever force or God you believe in, it doesn't matter. I don't think we were just put on this earth to exist and meander around and do stuff to make us happy. I don't know. Do you think cavemen were happy having to fight for their lives every fucking day, searching for food? Probably not. But they took steps to make the world better for future generations and to ensure that future generations would even exist. So we should all be doing what we can to leave this world better than we found it for future generations. Now, I think happiness can coexist with this, but I don't think it's the end goal. What's the point of dying happy if you never really did anything? And were you even truly happy? Or were you just filling your life with small hits of dopamine to distract yourself from or validate the fact that you never really achieved what you wanted to deep down? And a lot of people may disagree with me on this, and that's fine. Some people may have a goal to just be happy and stay where they're at. Just get a job, make some money, raise a family, travel a bit, and spend time with loved ones. And yes, I want all of these things as much as everyone else, but I also want more because I believe I'm capable of more than that. And I think everyone is. Everyone has something that fuels them, something that drives them, something they care about, something they can pour energy into and make something better. So, I don't know. So many people just bitch and complain about broken systems, how unfair life is. I'm part of this. I bitch about this too. But they do nothing to change it. They may say, "Oh, well that's bigger than me. There's nothing I can do about that." But if everyone thought this way, no change or progress would ever happen. We wouldn't even be where we are at today. If everyone believed they were too small or incapable of making real change, we would be stuck back in the caveman days, fighting for our lives. Or maybe we would be extinct as a species altogether. I know it's cheesy, but the quote, "be the change you wish to see in the world," I fear it's true. Like, stop complaining and get up and fucking do something about it. You may not change a whole system right away or even in your lifetime, but you can be that spark that eventually results in change, and you can inspire others to come together and collaborate to make a change. You can always do something. You just aren't right now because you don't want to get uncomfortable. You don't want to make sacrifices, and you don't want to get your hands dirty. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine, but then stop complaining. So, I'm sorry, but there is no fucking life hack. There is no way to avoid pain. There's no straight line to the top, and there's no way to avoid barriers. But why would you even want to avoid these things? Nothing is ever going to actually feel fulfilling unless you overcome those things. No matter what you accomplish on paper, it's not going to feel like you earned it unless you do the work. You could win the fucking World Peace Prize or the Nobel Peace Prize or find the cure to cancer, but if the path you took to get there was a walk in the park, it's not going to feel like you even accomplished anything. Because nothing that's worthwhile is easy, or everyone would just do it. So, do you want to be everyone and just meander through life, or do you want to leave knowing you left nothing left on the table? And that you gave everything you could to this world to leave it better than you found it? I don't know about you, but I'll go with the latter. So, alright, I'll get off my fucking soapbox now and let you all enjoy the rest of 2024, the last day of 2024. I hope this gave you some food for thought and maybe gave you what you need to make 2025 different and better from 2024, to really lean in to the uncomfortable situations and the unknown. So yeah, you know what you need to do. You already do. You know it deep down. So just fucking get up and do it. Start now. Today. Stop pushing it off. Stop trying to cover it up and validate why you're not doing something or validate why things are the way they are, because you could be that spark and there's always something that you can do. So just do it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Share it on your story. And as always, feel free to DM me with feedback. Let me know if this resonated or if you hated it. Honestly, just let me know. Whatever it is, I love hearing from you guys. Please leave a rating or review. And I hope you all have a fantastic New Year's. Please stay safe, whatever you're doing. And I'll talk to you next year. Much love. Macy.